Ladies and gentlemen, we have massive breaking news. As you all know, approximately 3 to 4 weeks ago, President Donald Trump looked into the cameras and said, "We caught them all. I caught them all. They rigged 2020, 2022, and tried to rig 2024, but I caught them." Then he looked at the Democrats in the audience and said, "You're all going to prison because come early January, I am going to release all the evidence onto the American people of what you've been doing." Well, ladies and gentlemen, Maduro was just captured. And look at what Trump just posted. And we all know Dominion voting machines come from Venezuela. Trump posted this on January 3rd, 2026, 5:22 p.m. Not only do they have the evidence, truckloads of evidence, but now they just caught the head of the snake. Subscribe, smash that thumbs up. Let's get right into it.
I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing.
We had approximately 25,000 ballots that were not created from the PDF that is used for the election process. So in other words, the election provider comes up with ballots.
So I've showed this testimony before. I want to go further. This guy did a whole investigation.
I found that there were ballots that I had. Number one is that there were a series of ballots that I examined the photographs of, and Dominion, as the election subcontractor, produced ballots for each of the zones or districts that were involved, at least in the area that I looked at here in Maricopa County. And there were 5,000 approximately, a little over, different ballots. As you know, in a state, there could be 2 different senator races. There could be 10 different House races, and all the permutations and combinations is what gives you the 5,000. So they create a final ballot for each one of these districts or zones or regions, so that when you go in and you give your name and it knows you're from this area, you would get this ballot to vote on all the issues that pertain to you and only the issues that pertain to you. And I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing. As you can imagine, the lines are perfect. So they're perfectly straight, no breaks in them, the circles or ovals as they may be, and they're a solid line. When I examined some of the early voting ballots and election day ballots from various polling locations, there were about 25,000 that did not have printing from this perfect PDF, as you would expect, but instead had breaks in all the same places around an oval. So you can look at one of the ovals and there are imperfections in the line, and they're in the same place on every single one of these ballots.
These 25,000 unidentifiable ballots alone represent over double the amount of...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what President Trump posted. Maduro, yes, we went in for the oil, for the gold, for the natural gas. We went in to stop the drugs. But more than anything, Trump said he will fulfill the promise of ending the deep state, of draining the swamp. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is it. Trump is telling us, I'm going for the head of the snake. I am going to... Every single globalist tonight is shaking in their boots. I guarantee you. Every single dictator from Iran, Ukraine, China was waking up in the middle of the night, and his people said, "Sir, you could be next." And they could be. Mess around, play stupid games, want to be a globalist and work with the Democrats, go ahead. But don't cry when our military shows up at 3 a.m, arrests you while you're in bed, and brings you back to the glorious United States to face justice. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. I love you. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.